What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video here on my YouTube channel. And for those of you that are new around here and don't know who I am, my name's Aaron. I create travel photography and videography based content here on YouTube, so if that is something that will interest you, be sure to subscribe to the channel. But as you can tell by the title today, I'm going to be discussing with you my rookie mistakes that travelers make all the time that you need to avoid just to make your trip much more smooth and much more enjoyable. So if you do find this video useful at any point, be sure to let me know by leaving a like, put any comments or questions or any of your rookie mistakes that maybe you've experienced down below in the comments section. And be sure to check out the linked playlist on screen right now, which is some more travel related content. But let's just jump straight into the video. Okay, so the first of my 10 rookie travel mistakes that you must avoid is booking your accommodation purely based on price and not any of the other factors, which includes facilities and obviously the reviews and stuff like that. But I'm mainly talking about location. So booking your accommodation based on price because it's quite far out from the city centre. I done this mistake in Amsterdam. I actually booked accommodation quite some way out. It was actually by the airport, purely because it was one of the cheapest. But then you actually spend more money actually traveling to the city centre, and obviously if you're not bothered about spending the more money, you also spend a lot of time, which obviously digs into the amount of time that you can explore things and obviously enjoy that city. So don't book it based purely on price. Don't go for the cheapest one, even if it's quite far out, you just want to save some quid. It's much more beneficial in the long run just to pay the extra money to be central, to be in a good location, so then you can just enjoy your trip much more. Now, the next rookie travel mistake that you must avoid is not learning the local laws and rules. So obviously the laws are a big one because you can get locked up, but even just the local rules, the things that are deemed acceptable and not acceptable and maybe offensive to the locals, you do need to know these things, because in different places there's obviously a lot of different cultures, and what you may find just normal and obviously something that you do regular at home may actually be offensive to the local people, or it could actually be illegal. So just make sure you read up on just some of the basic rules for wherever you're traveling. This mainly applies if you are changing continents, because if you go to somewhere like Asia, some things are deemed offensive and some things can actually land you in prison, even though back here obviously it's completely acceptable, or at least sort of acceptable. So obviously research the local laws and rules just to make sure that you aren't offending anyone or getting yourself in any bother. Now, the next rookie travel mistake you've got to avoid is assuming that the English language is just spoken fluently everywhere, and even if not just fluently, just even if they have an understanding of the English language. Whilst it's true that most places will obviously have some basic English language in whatever you're doing, wherever you go, some places may not, and obviously even just basic English language for the locals of whichever country you've traveled to may not actually help you that much during your trip. It's very, very difficult to communicate with someone who doesn't actually know very much English at all. And then if you don't know any of their language, it just seems a bit rude. And obviously if you're traveling to their country, it's just best to obviously find out if they do speak very good English. And if not, just learn some of the local phrases so you don't seem arrogant or rude. And that way your trip will be much more enjoyable. Now, the next rookie travel mistake you must avoid is don't pack too many activities or whatever it may be into a short period of time. The reason for that is you will burn out and you will do too much, and the rest of your trip you'll be tired. So obviously if you're going on a 2-month trip and you try and visit like a lot of different cities, so many different cities, and you're only spending maybe 1 or 2 days in each because you want to visit so many, don't cut it in half and just spend double the amount of time in each city that you've obviously decided on. It's a lot more relaxing way to travel, and you get to see and explore a lot more, and you won't miss things out, and you won't become tired towards the end of the trip. You'll realize this in the long run. If you try and cram a lot of stuff in over the space of 10 days, maybe you want to go and visit 5 cities in 10 days, or that could be realistic, but maybe let's just say 7 cities in 10 days. You could bring that back to 3 or 4 and actually have a really good time in them 3 or 4 cities, and then you wouldn't have actually just missed out on some key things if you try to fit all of them in. And obviously at the end of your trip, you won't be as tired. Now, the 5th rookie travel mistake that you want to avoid is don't book everything in advance, because that kind of takes away from the spontaneity, whatever the word is, of the trip. It basically means you can't be spontaneous with your trip. And the reason for that is if you have everything booked, if you have flights, you have accommodation, you have trains, you have whatever, all booked before you go, you're on a very, very strict schedule. And whilst that's good for just regular holidays, if you're traveling and you're intending on traveling for a long time, or just taking a gap year or doing the classic backpacking thing, That's not how most people do it. A lot of people just book for the first part. So they book where they fly into and then a couple of nights accommodation, which is what I'm doing for my Southeast Asia trip. And then you just go from there. You go with the flow, you meet new people, and that's another limiting factor. If you meet some really, really cool, awesome people that you want to hang out with, but you've got this really, really strict schedule that you've paid for fully in advance before you've gone, you've got your trains, you've got your flights, you've got accommodation, you can't hang out with them. Maybe they want to go to a different country and you're like, I've already got this whole next 2 months already booked. It just doesn't fit in with not only yourself, it doesn't allow you to travel freely, and it doesn't fit in with others if you want to meet up with the people and obviously make cool friends. So try not to book in advance, just book the start of your trip and then go from there. Now, the next rookie travel mistake is do extensive research on local transport. I know people just have a quick look to see maybe if they have like trains or whether it's buses or whatever, or if they have certain taxi companies like Uber, but do extensive research. Find out how much obviously the type of transportation is. Find out if it's cheaper to take a taxi or a bus or a train, or if it's quicker to take a taxi, bus or train. Maybe sometimes it could actually be quicker taking a bus than a train, because maybe a train has 30 stops to get you from A to B, where maybe there is a bus that just goes directly, no stop, and just goes straight to the destination, and it could be 10 minutes less on a bus. So do your extensive research on local transportation and obviously on taxi firms. Some places in the world taxis are actually frowned upon and kind of have a bad reputation, especially some firms like Uber and Grab and stuff like that. They kind of see them as taken away from the local economy. So do all your research again, just to make sure you're not offending anyone, and obviously to maximize your experience, to make sure that you are using the best methods of transportation. Now, the next rookie mistake to avoid, it's kind of to avoid, but you actually need to do it, is haggling. And basically, I mean, don't pay the first price that they're giving to you. So that's what you want to avoid. Haggle with people wherever you go, even if it's in Europe. Some places in Europe like Paris and London, people won't haggle, but especially in Asia and stuff like that, the price is never firm and you can always get it down. Make sure you do your research. YouTube is a great way. Just watch some vlogs and stuff like that. And if you know you're going to a certain area and people are paying certain prices for certain things, you know that that's your price. So if you walk into a souvenir shop in Bangkok and you want to get maybe a souvenir of whatever, maybe a temple or something like that, and they quote you a certain price, but you know there's someone from YouTube who you watch a travel vlog, got it for half that price, and pretty much the whole internet says it's half that price, then you're guaranteed that you will be able to haggle them down. And obviously do it appropriately, but also respect them. At the end of the day, they do still need to make money, so do be respectful, but make sure you're not ripped off. Now, another rookie mistake to avoid is just eating food that you would at home. Firstly, there's no joy in that. That's not what you travel for. But secondly, it's much cheaper to eat the local food, and quite often you'll be eating stuff that you've never experienced before. That's the whole point of traveling. Just dive into the local culture. Make sure you try the local stuff, because it's a lot cheaper than obviously eating Western food, especially in places like Asia. So make sure that you do dive into the local culture, and it will save you a lot of money, and you never know, you may find your new favorite meal. Now, a bit of a bonus tip for rookie travel mistakes not to make is don't carry large amounts of cash, for obvious reasons that you may get robbed and stuff like that. But another extension on that is don't carry just notes either. So don't just take loads of notes, take some small change, because often, especially in places like Asia and obviously Eastern Europe, a lot of stuff is quite cheap, and if you're handing in big notes all the time, the shop owners may actually reject them because they've not got the right change. So make sure you do have some small change and some notes, but never carry around a lot of money, and never carry around just large amounts of notes, large quantities, large value of notes. Just make sure you have a bit of a mixture of everything, and that will make sure that you can obviously use in a wide range of situations. Now, tip number 9 for rookie travel mistakes not to make is make sure you call your bank before you leave. And the reason for that is I know a lot of people that have actually left for traveling, not called the bank, and then had cards declined. And whilst it can get resolved, it does take a while, especially if you're in a different continent with different time zones and stuff like that. It can be very, very difficult to get hold of your bank, especially if they're not 24/7, obviously helpline kind of thing. So make sure your bank is cleared. They know that you're traveling to a certain area, so there's no blocks on your account. And again, because it's quite difficult to actually just identify who you are and go through the whole process when you're in a different country. So make sure you do it beforehand, and then you've got the peace of mind when you're away that nothing will go wrong with your account. And tip number 10 is quite an obvious one, but do not flash your expensive stuff, electricals, your money, your phone, anything like that whilst you're out. Don't be the tourist who just takes all this stuff out and is constantly showing, especially in hostels. Do not get anything expensive out all the time and kind of show off what you have, because you're just making yourself a threat to things being stolen and obviously things being stolen within the street. If you're constantly getting your phone out, people may just drive past and take it out of your hand. If you've got stuff dangling out your pockets, just make sure everything's locked away securely. I've actually got locks that I put on my bags for both my small bag and my big bag, and my phone will never just constantly be out. It'll be either in my pocket or it will be in my bag. I want to make sure that I'm secure at all times, so just don't constantly flash stuff. If you've got a camera and stuff like that, or a laptop, save your laptop for when you need it in private. And obviously if you're filming stuff or taking photos, only take it out when you need it. Don't just walk around with it on your hand or maybe dangling off your bag or around your neck. Just kind of use your common sense and make sure that you're safe with your belongings, especially anything expensive. And then to kind of wrap all of that into one is don't overpack. I know this is quite an obvious one as a rookie travel mistake, and that's why I kind of left it as a bonus tip. I didn't want to throw it in there straight away because it's quite an obvious one, but just don't overpack. It will save you so much in the long run, and you'll thank yourself whilst you're traveling. Whilst it may be tempting to take your favorite top and then your second favorite top, your third favorite top, and obviously an outfit to go with that and an outfit to go with the other one, just you're traveling. No one cares what you look like whilst you're traveling. Obviously it feels nice to obviously look the part, but you're traveling, and within a month you won't really care yourself, and you'll realize that whilst you're out there. So just pack what you need, pack the essentials, and pack as light as you can, because it will, as I said, save you in the long run, and you will thank yourself so much for doing so whilst you're out there. But that is all for this 10 rookie travel mistakes that you must avoid video. If you did find any of these useful, be sure to let me know by leaving a like. Put any comments or questions, or as I said at the start of the video, any of your rookie travel mistakes down below in the comment section. And as I said at the start as well, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new around here, as there are travel vlogs coming very soon. It should actually be the next video, or maybe the one after that, but it's very soon, within the next week. So thank you all for watching, guys. Till next time, goodbye.